Professor Abbas Ali Mehdi, sir. He has been involved in research and teaching for last 35 years, and he has been active contributor in the field of research in the medical sciences with more than 400 publications and astonishing 20,000 citations. He has, to his credit, more than 32 book chapters and 10 books, including PhD guidance and PhD supervision of more than 26 scholars, followed by 4 MPhil scholar and 200 MD, MS, MDS, and DMS students. He has supervised more than 50 research projects, including the prestigious DST, FIST, and the World Academy of Science, Italy projects. Professor Abbas Ali Mehdi has received several awards and recognitions for academic and research contributions, including the Fellowship of National Academy of Medical Sciences, India, and Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences. He has delivered over 200 invited talks at various international and national institutions, conferences. Sir has been the editor-in-chief for many international and national journals and has been associated with numerous journals in the form of reviewers. He has been examiner and expert for numerous national and foreign institutions, including those in Egypt, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Palestine, Iran, and China. Professor Abbas Ali Mehdi has been the president of 4 national scientific societies, namely the Association of Clinical Biochemists of India, Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences, founder president, Indian Society of Critical Care Toxicology from the year 2018. He has also been the founder president, Indian Society for Lead Awareness and Research, and the vice president of Association of Clinical Biochemists of India. He has also been associated with the Society of Free Radical Research, Indian Society of Chronomedicine. And another important point which I would like to highlight is that Sir has been included in the list, the very recently published list by the Cambridge University, along with the elsewhere, that he is among the top 2% of the researchers in the field of medical sciences and global list. We can say so. It is a big achievement for all of us that Sir is here, and he has tried to spare some time because he has administrative experiences, administrative duties as well. He is the controller of examination, King George Medical University, as well as the chief proctor of KGME. With this brief introduction of you, sir, I hand over the dais to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sajid, for your nice introduction. I am not allowed to share my screen, so kindly allow me to share my screen so that I can show the PPT. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Very much, sir.
Okay, so this I have been disabled for sharing the screen. Can the organizers allow me to share the screen?
Yes, sir, just a minute.
Okay. A very good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure today to be part of this conference and to be here and to be interacting with you all. Of course, this due to COVID on this online platform. And I must thank the organizers for inviting me today and giving me an opportunity to interact and share my views. Now, as far as Dr. Sajid has mentioned that so many changes are taking place globally, and India is coming up as a world leader in multiple areas, and not only in healthcare sector, but other areas also. So today I'll be basically talking about the advancement in medical science and emergence of India as global leader in healthcare. So before going into it, let's start with the prehistoric medicine, from where we started. That early humans were unaware of the various diseases, and initially it was in the prehistoric times, it was believed that illness and disease is basically were the punishment of gods. And initially the physicians were basically using that simple trial and error method to discover the medicinal benefits from the plants and herbs. So that was initially being used. So plants and herbs have been used for time immemorial for treating various diseases. And the struggle or the basic start of medicine, in that too, India has a great role to play. It's said that more than 5000 BC, India developed a comprehensive form of healing called Ayurveda. And this developed, and we have got medical treatments propagated by Charaka, and who was a physician, and Shushrutra, who was a surgeon of ancient India. So from time immemorial, India and Indian physicians and Indian surgeons have played a pivotal role in treating various illnesses through which the humans were suffering. And they used to use all five senses in the diagnosis of the diseases, and to identify the disease, to treat the disease, and to use, basically, it was basically the use of the medicinal plants which was there. Now, world over also, the basic advancements in the field of medicine started between 16th to 18th century. And during this period, for example, the German scientist in 18th century developed the common the painkiller, that is morphine. And from that, it is started that the period, the period of mid 18th century and early 19th century was a period when medicine was heavily professionalized. And here, with the advancement, new career options, even for the women, came in the form of nurses. So that's how the advancement in modern medicine started. And with the coming of the 19th century, various branches came out, like, for example, physiology was an independent branch. And similarly, in 1980s itself, the germ theory was discovered. And then the Louis Pasteur in Paris, he was a French chemist who established the science of bacteriology, and he even discovered the rabies vaccine. Similarly, Robert Koch showed that bacteria could be cultivated, isolated, and examined, and he discovered this tuberculosis, and also the virus for this Vibrio cholerae for cholera. Similarly, this continued, and the most spectacular overarching medicine advance of the 19th century was the use of antiseptics. And like, for example, carbolic acid, that phenol, is used as an antiseptic. So that all developed in 18th century and 19th century. Now, similarly, basically the changes which started in 18th century and continued in 19th century, they further developed into the discovery of the sanitization, because people thought that sanitization is important. And the first modern ecological study in UK by John Snow identified that cholera was transmitted by the ingestion of water contaminated by feces. So this was another thing that people started thinking about, that sanitation is important for the prevention of diseases. And similarly, another spectacular advancement in the end of the 19th century was the discovery of X-rays. And that's how the diagnosis become very easy. And not many changes started thereafter. Like, for example, in India itself, a British medical officer who was in the Indian Medical Service, Ronald Ross in Calcutta, he demonstrated that malaria parasites are transmitted by mosquitoes. So that was a very big, remarkable discovery, that the malaria, which was very common at that time, is basically because of the mosquitoes, transmission by the mosquitoes. And this remarkable increase in scientific knowledge during the 19th century radically transformed and expanded the practice of medicine world over. And India also contributed a lot. Like, for example, even for the discovery of the malaria parasite, the work was done in the Tropical Institute at Calcutta. Similarly, with the start of the 20th century, there was a plethora of discoveries and advancements in medicine all away. Everywhere you can see that there were not many publications, conferences, use of computers, electronic media, everything that came into being in the 20th century. And that led to the easy transmission of the information from one part of the world, and publications were available. The scientific publications were available in the libraries and all that. And thereafter, when photocopiers came, papers could be exchanged. Similarly, with the invent of computers, things become more easy. And similarly, in 1928, like for example, Alexander Fleming, he accidentally discovered the antibiotics and all that. So that's how the things started developing. And with the discovery of, for example, by Besting and Best in 1922 about the insulin, that's the hormone which is important for diabetes. So similarly, antibiotics were, streptomycin was discovered in 1943, and penicillin was discovered in 1940s. So these were the changes which were taking place simultaneously world over in the field of medicine. And simultaneously, there were changes also in the diagnostics and surgical techniques to cure fatal diseases. Like, for example, in 1954, the first successful transplant of the kidney took place. That was the first renal transplant which took place. Similarly, in 1982, the first artificial heart was transplanted. So these were the things which were taking place world over. And most important, I think the thing which has totally transformed, and simultaneously with the developments in the medicine and physiology, there were developments in biochemistry also, the branch to which I belong. In biochemistry, the changes start, although this subject was given the name quite late in the day, at the start of the 20th century. But the discoveries led to the culminated into the breaking of the genetic code, which is also called as God's code. And this discovery of the genetic code by Watson and Crick in 1953 really transformed the treatment modalities, the diagnostics, and everything has been transformed. Like, for example, I give an example that earlier insulin, which is used for the treatment of diabetes, was not available. Human insulin was not available. So we used to use either horse insulin or pig insulin for treating diabetes when insulin was needed. But as you know that they are from other species. It is either from horse or pig. And with pig, there were religious issues also with Jews and Muslims. So not many problems were there. Now, with the invent of the genetic engineering on the basis of the discovery of genetic code by Watson and Crick, total transformation has taken place. And now in the market, human insulin is available. So you can synthesize human insulin in a test tube and use it for the humans. So that is what the change, total transformation has taken place. The proteins which are important for the body, like for example, for the treatment of viral diseases, for the treatment of lot many diseases, interferons were used. Now, these interferons are the minor proteins which are present in our blood. Now, I remember that in 1980s, there was a report in Scientific American that the American Red Cross spent billions of dollars to isolate sufficient amount of interferon from the human blood. And that was basically, there was ethical issue also, because the blood was taken from the prisoners of war, Vietnamese war. And from them, sufficient interferon could be isolated to treat 6 patients. So it is said that about $5 billion were spent by US Red Cross to treat 6 patients for the viral diseases. Now, with the invent of this genetic engineering, now the treatment, this interferon is normally available in the market, and it costs less than $1 for a dose. So you can see, imagine that billions of dollars were spent to treat 6 patients. Now that interferon is available in the market, in the common market, for less than $1. So that's what is the changes, the transformations, whether in the synthesis of human insulin is concerned, or this interferons is concerned, which has taken place because of the work which was carried out by Watson and Crick way back in 1953, about 70 years back. Now, with the coming up of the Human Genome Project in 2003, completion of the Human Genome Project, things are changing at a faster pace. In last 20 years or so, so many transformations have taken place, so many changes have taken place, like, for example, development of lot many vaccines for the treatment of cervical cancer, herpes, and similarly, human embryo, total embryo has been cloned, although it couldn't survive, but still advanced cell technology is being used for the cloning purposes now. And you'll not be surprised that shortly people are already trying to grow human organs in a petri dish. So you will find that instead of having a donors available, you can grow your own cells in a petri dish, and you can grow your own organs, whether it is a kidney or whether it is a heart or whether it is a liver. Your own heart can be grown in a petri dish, and that can be used for transplantation. So these changes are taking place, and we are still looking for the cures for cancer and heart diseases, although lot many transformations have taken place, lot many new drugs, new interventions have come into being, and we have almost conquered the heart disease. AIDS treatment is available, but cancer is a potential challenge which humans are still facing, and we need lot many new inputs, lot many new drugs, lot many new interventions for the early detection and treatment of cancer. Now, as far as the augmentation of medicine is concerned, this digitalization and the artificial intelligence has going to totally transform the medicine in times to come. Now, the use of computers have already, for example, in radiology, the MRI, the PET scan, the CT scan, total transformation has taken place by the use of artificial intelligence, and people have started wondering that what will be the role of man behind the machine, and whether it will be needed or not. But I'll say that the human brain, the human intelligence will always be having an upper hand as far as the machines are concerned, but we'll be exploiting, we'll be employing these artificial intelligence in a big way in times to come for the diagnosis and treatment of diseases. And the computers are in a big way. Robotic surgery is the name of the day, and it is a precise thing, because if you are using your hands, there's a problem that some problems become, but with the machine, that problems can be overcome. So artificial intelligence is going to be used in both the diagnostics as well as in the treatment of the diseases in a big way in times to come. And as far as the role of India is concerned, I think India has been in the forefront of the progress in the field of medicine. And in last few decades, lot many changes have taken place, and that's why medical tourism has increased. And moreover, the research, as far as research is concerned, lot many new drugs, lot many new developments are taking place, whether the treatment of tuberculosis is concerned or treatment of cancer is concerned, the multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. The CSIR has developed a drug for that. Similarly, for example, in Lucknow itself, the CDRI has developed Centroman long back, and lot many new new molecules are going to come in the market shortly for the treatment of Parkinsonism and other diseases. So many changes are taking place, and one of the biggest challenge which the humanity has faced in this century was of COVID-19. And in that, India has come up in a big way in the field of medicine. Whether in the initial stages, I was associated with the diagnostics of COVID, and we used to import all the diagnostic kits from US, and each test rather used to cost about more than 2,000 rupees. Now with India acted very fastly, our scientists, our technologists acted very fastly, and not only it was that the people from the medical stream, but also from IITs and science institutes, they all came together. And for example, Now we develop the kits, and now the per test cost has come down to less than 100 rupees. It's less than a 50 rupees rather. So that's how in a month's time, in a week's time, in a day's time, the total transformation has taken place, because India has, whether it was the development of the PPE kits was there, whether the development of even the mask was there, India started production of them. Newer things came into being, simplified things came into being, things which were cheaper and available. And now India has started exporting all these things to the outside world. So that is what is the contribution. And the biggest one, of course, was the development of the vaccine at a very fast pace. And that is how the technology has helped us. That earlier it was said that to develop a drug, at least we need 30 years to test it, to let it pass through various phases, phase 1 trial, phase 2 trial, phase 3 trial. All that used to take time, animal trials and all that. But now drugs are being developed at a very fast pace. Similarly, for vaccines, we have to wait for years to develop a vaccine. But here you see that the world has changed, and the India has contributed a lot in the development of vaccine. And in the times to come, with the use of artificial intelligence, the future of surgery, for example, is going to change totally with the development of the robotic surgery. The surgical robots have got going to have a big role in times to come. Now, for example, prostate surgery and all that, the renal surgery, all that, they are being performed by the robots, and robots are available, I think, in the big institutions. And shortly, the cost is going to come down, and they will be available everywhere in India. Now, the other thing is, which I wanted to share, is that new things are coming up, like, for example, nucleic acid medicine. People are thinking to utilize DNA and RNA, that's the genetic material, to target them at the stage where protein is synthesized from the genome, that is DNA and RNA, and to target that protein at that level. So this is going to come in a big way in next 10, 20 years, that nucleic acid, so-called nucleic acid medicine. This term is not much used these days. Similarly, one more thing which is developing at a very fast pace is personalized medicine. We'll be knowing that which drug will be suiting to which person. For example, the common drug paracetamol, it's for use for pain. It's a painkiller, but some people couldn't tolerate it. They are allergic to it. So we are going to develop devices and kits on the basis of the personalized medicine, in which we can not only know which drug is going to be more effective, what's the dose of the drug which will be effective, how much dose is to be given, all that will be developed in this so-called personalized medicine, or precision medicine as it is called as. Similarly, nanomedicine is going to be a big thing. Nanocapsules are being developed for the delivery of the drugs at the sites where they are needed. For example, there is a cancer at the head of the pancreas. You can develop a nano particle which will go and attach to the pancreas and release the drug there and kill the cancer cells. Similarly, stem cells have got a tremendous potential in understanding and treating a range of diseases, and lot many work is going on in our country itself. I know people who are working in the stem cell research, where they are using stem cells for the treatment of lot many degenerative diseases, including the spinal cord injury. And at King George Medical University itself, I have seen that people, the transfusion medicine people, and the person from the neurosurgery and orthopedics, they are using stem cells for the treatment of the debilitating diseases because of the injuries to the spinal cord. So these devices, whether it is nanotechnology, stem cell research, and the personalized medicine, and the nucleic acid medicine, is going to transform the future of medicine in, I think, in front of our eyes only in coming few decades. And we are going to have lot many transformations which are going to take place in the field of medicine, and lot many new exciting developments to take place in the field of medicine, for which we must be ready. And I think the government of India is emphasizing, that's why, on translational research, and lot many emphasis these days is on how any molecule or any substance can be used for the treatment of disease, for example, or for example, any new diagnostics test could be developed for quick diagnosis, cheap diagnosis, early diagnosis of the diseases. So I think this point of care systems and the new developments in diagnostics, like for example, even in biochemistry earlier used to use solutions for example, the detection of blood glucose level, for the estimation of blood glucose level. Now slides are available. Simple this paper slides are available on which you put a drop of blood or serum or plasma, and immediately, instantaneously, you will know the blood glucose level. So these devices have been developed for the estimation of lot many molecules, and these transformations are taking place. Similarly, the computer-based, or for example, the app-based applications are available for the diagnostics, and in a big way for the prediction of the diseases. These apps are going to be used and they are going to come in the market shortly. And on your mobile, you can today itself you can estimate your pulse, you can have your blood pressure, you can have your respiratory rate and all that. Similarly, in times to come, even your blood sugar level or your other biochemical parameters will be known on your mobile itself, and non-invasive devices will be developed, which you need not to have, for example, from just blood glucose level estimation, just scanning the skin by your mobile phone. You can, by using the mobile camera, you can detect the blood glucose level, and that is going to come up in a big way. Earlier, we used to think that instead of having repeated pricks in case of detecting the blood sugar level, we may use saliva, human saliva, so that it is a non-invasive technique. Now people are developing apps. They are developing mobile-based apps by which you can detect the blood sugar level. So these transformations are taking place, and India is contributing in a big way by the use of artificial intelligence. I know people who are working for making programs for prediction of diseases like for detection of diseases like epilepsy at an early age, for the detection of parasitic infections, all that. And that's going to be a big thing to come in times to come. So I think with this, I'd like to thank the organizers, and especially Dr. Sajid and others, his team members, for giving me the opportunity to talk to you and to talk about the advancements and the future trends of medicine globally as well as in India. And with this, I'd like to thank Dr. Sajid once again. And if there are any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Very much. Very, very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a brief insight into advancements in the medical science. If there are any questions, they can be raised in the chat box.
There is no question as such, but my personal gratitude towards Professor Mahdi, in spite of having very, very serious and very busy schedule, he honored us by his presentation.
It was a pleasure and really an honor for me to be here this morning and to talk to you. Yeah, although today I am busy because just after a few minutes, 11:15, I have to attend a International Lead Awareness Week. This is there. So from 22nd of October to 29th of October, the World Health Organization is hosting this lead awareness week for prevention and awareness about lead toxicity. So we have got a big program here at ERA this morning. So I just squeezed out the time, and because Dr. Sajid asked me and I couldn't say no to him. So, and it's always a pleasure and really an honor to interact with you all, and especially Dr. Zahedi, who has been so supportive and so helpful to me. And he's a great friend of mine.
Honor to me, sir. Honor to me.
It's a
Sir,
pleasure.
only one small request, that if you could share some information regarding the psychiatric medicine, because most of our participants are young students and they are in the field of mental health. And
Okay.
India has done a lot in the psychiatric medicines, particularly from the Rolfia invention of Rolfia and the treatment of schizophrenia or other psychotic disease.
Yeah.
Antipsychotic disease medicines were initially initiated by Indian Ayurvedas only.
Yeah.
If you could spare few minutes and
Absolutely.
enlighten them on this issue, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think the contribution of India and the potential of clinical psychologists, and psychiatrists is going to be in a big way. And the contributions, although are there, but I think the potential of these the developments which are going to take place in the field of psychiatry, in the field of psychology, in the field of clinical psychology, especially because psychosomatic diseases are increasing at a very fast pace, and there is a need for counseling. There is a need for new developments to take place in this area, and I think I see a big potential and big field for this science, and because even in, for example, you have seen in the COVID. It is a disease which was basically affecting the lungs, but it was not that lungs were only affected, but it was also affecting the psychology of the people, not only the patient but the people around. So you need to have a good clinical psychologist and this psychiatrist for the treatment of psychological illnesses. And I think the developments which have taken place and the way the clinical psychologist and the psychiatrist have imparted counseling and all that, I've seen myself that how it helped the patient. And still, I think in every branch of medicine, we need counseling, we need counselors, we need people who can counsel, who can prepare the people to face the challenges of a disease. So I think there's a big scope for people to come and contribute in this area, and they have got going to have a big potential for them in times to come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Anushka, over to you. There are a few chat questions and something on the chat box.
Sir, thank you.
So you can quickly request
Professor
Mehdi Hasan to speak.
That have come up in the chat box. Yes, sir. Mr. Abhay Srivastava, if you could share some light, throw some light on the cost of availing medicine in the future. How can we make medical facilities more cost effective?
I think that's what I have mentioned in my lecture itself, that for example, for the treatment of viral diseases, including cancer and autoimmune disorders, we use human proteins. So earlier they used to cost a lot. Like I gave the example of interferon that in 80s, not long back, just about 40 years back, the cost of the interferon was in millions of dollars. Now it is coming for less than $1. So with the advancements which are taking place in the diagnostics as well as in the treatment modalities, cost is going to come down, especially of the diagnostics, because cheaper and non-invasive tests, as I said, that for example, even for the detection of blood glucose level, you are going to have an app. So what will it cost? Your mobile you can use for the detection of your blood, monitoring your blood glucose level. Similarly for other parameters also. So I think in times to come, cost is going to come down. And although with the escalation of prices in every sphere of society, maybe that the treatment cost may be high, the drugs may be a bit costly, but still prices are being maintained because of the large productivity, easy productivity, and lot many transformations are taking place in the production itself. And so I think that cost effectiveness will be maintained, and new things will be coming up, new developments will be coming up in the area of therapeutics as well as diagnostics. And as I said that, for example, in personalized medicine, that's going to totally transform this precision medicine and precision medicine and personalized medicine, as it's called, as or personalized medicine. As we started with the evidence-based medicine, experience-based medicine was there earlier. So earlier it was said that it was experience-based. Then we came to personalized medicine. Then we came to evidence-based medicine. Now it is personalized medicine. Moreover, it is coming to be the precision medicine. So things are going to change and transformations are going to take place in times to come.
Thank
I
you
think
so much.
one is on ethics. Ethical issues
Yes.
are very important. I think that's very important. That how to, like for example, this recombinant DNA technology, for example, the production of the human organs or the use of stem cells, because they have the potential to sometimes to lead to the changes in our genome, and that may cause certain types of malignancies and cancers. So I think ethical issues are very important and vital, and we have to walk a tightrope because ethics have to be taken into consideration and unethical things have to be avoided. Like for example, I saw one picture of on a scientific magazine of a human ear grown on a mice. On the back of the mice, they grew human ear. So whole human hair was grown by the manipulation in the genes of the mice. So such things are taking place, but in that ethics are very important. Like for example, the growth of artificial growth of human embryo that was stopped, and still people are working on the growth of human organs, but not many ethical issues are there also. So I think that is very important and vital. And I think we must take into considerations the ethics in a big way. Anything else? I could see. One thing is about the time of clinical trials, someone mentioned. Yeah, that's true. That time has been reduced, and it is a bit scary because earlier lot much time was spent. No, actually, this is because of the development in cell biology, we can grow the cells, human cells, in the petri dishes, and on that we basically carry out the clinical trials. Earlier, it was in animals, like for example, from lower strata of animals to the higher strata, from mice to, for example, monkeys we used to go. Now, most of those clinical trials are being skipped, and we are using human cells for carrying out the safety and efficacy of the drugs. So I think that has reduced the time lag. But yes, we have to have the human safety and the safety of the persons who are going to use that molecule prominent in our minds, and keep that in mind. That is very important. And I think all these things are being taken into considerations, because ethical issues, earlier we didn't have ethical committees in most of the institutions. Now all the industries and even the institutions, they have ethics committees, and they are recognized by a regulatory body like Indian Council of Medical Research, and the Drug Control of India monitors the working of the ethics committees. So it is a rigorous monitoring which is being carried out, and if any trial or anything on humans is to be done, then it has to pass through a rigorous ethical issues. So I think safety and efficacy is taken into consideration, but always, as I said, even for isolation of interferon, people use unethical means. So it's a walking on a tightrope. Someone has mentioned about the use of saliva. Yes, saliva is being used for detection of blood glucose level, although it is not very common. But I think I see a great future. I see that I saw that device in my visit to UK 2 years back, that they have developed for two things. One is for detection of the blood glucose level, and other is for the detection of ulcers in the foot, diabetic ulcers in the foot. From the they have developed an app for that. So from that, I see a great future in not only detection of blood glucose, but also someone has mentioned about the creatinine for the diabetic patients. So that too can be monitored in times to come. I think, because I never imagined that without using the fluids, without using the solvents, without using the solutions, we can detect blood glucose level. Now on a slide, you can just put a drop, minute drop of human plasma, and you can get the blood glucose level. No use of any liquid.